Amandla! Amandla! Viva COSATU, viva! Forward with COSATU, forward! Forward with the workers' struggle in South Africa, forward! Viva ANC, viva! Phambili neSANCO, phambili! Phambili neSACP, phambili! Malibongwe! Igama lamakhosikazi! Roar, young lions, roar! Roar, young lions, roar! Forward with the real MK Liberation War veterans, forward! Amandla! Dumelang! Molweni! Sanbonani! Abhishek! Abhishek! Limasiari! Lochani! Goeiemiddag! Good afternoon! Amandla! I extend my greetings to the President of COSATU, Comrade Zingiswa Losi. I extend my greetings to the members of the National Executive Committee of COSATU who are here present, to the members and the leaders of COSATU in the province of the Western Cape. I extend my greetings to the leadership of the South African Communist Party. Comrade Soli Mapaila is here with us. I extend my greetings to the leadership and the president of SANCO, Comrade Jerry is here with us. I extend my greetings to the leadership of the ANC Women's League. Comrade Tolashe is here with us. The leadership of the ANC Veterans League is here with us. The leadership of the MK Liberation War veterans are also here. The leadership of various organizations, including the leadership of the Palestinians, various organizations fighting for the freedom of Palestine. Today we celebrate the achievement of workers in South Africa. We remember the generations of worker leaders, of organizers, of shop stewards, of shaft stewards, and many unionists who fought for the rights of all workers and the freedom of our people. We also recall the sacrifices that were made in the cause of freedom, the lives that were lost, the suffering that was endured by so many workers in our country so that we could achieve our freedom. Many were killed because they made the mistake of aligning themselves with the liberation struggle of our people. Many fled the country because they were liberation fighters. Many were forcibly removed from their homes, from their land, because they dared as workers to stand up to the apartheid misrulers of our country. Today, on Workers' Day, we say that we will continue with all the strength we have to continue the struggle that workers have always engaged in, the fight for liberation, total liberation, and the fight against exploitation. As the African National Congress, being here to give a message of support to COSATU, which leads the workers of this country as the largest federation, we say that we will continue to fight for the rights of workers. Noma bayathanda, noma bathandi, i-ANC izohlala ihamba nabasebenzi. Ons gaan nie terug nie. Ons sal met die werkers van hierdie land saamloop. We are going to continue supporting them. We will continue the fight for the poor, for those who do not have land, for those who do not have jobs, for those who don't even have houses. 30 years ago, the people of this country went to vote in their very first democratic elections. They stood in long queues for many hours, black and white, men and women, from all walks of life, from all classes and all backgrounds, to determine the future of their country. I remember the day very distinctly because I chose to go and cast my vote amongst and with mine workers at Kloof Mine in Western Area, the mine that we organized for the very first time in 1982 as the National Union of Mine Workers. And I'm delighted today to see the mine workers very strong at this rally, still united. I'm glad to see the members of various other unions, donned in the uniform of their unions, still united. I voted alongside some 10,000 mine workers on that day. As I was making my way to the polling station, standing in the queue with the mine workers, I was approached by an old mine worker who said, "What we fought for these years and what you also came and fought for has now been attained. I can now go and retire and die." What he said was true. The achievement of democracy in 1994 was what we had fought for many decades as workers, as communities, and as a people. And although he was old, and he felt that his struggle was over for the South African masses, this was the beginning of a new era of struggle. Yes, we had won the right to vote, to elect a government of our choice, to write a new constitution, but we knew then, as we know now, that the struggle against poverty, against inequality, against unemployment and exploitation was not over. But what did we fight for? What did you as workers fight for? And what did you as workers fight for and achieve? You fought under the rubric of the Freedom Charter. You wanted those freedoms that are inserted in the Freedom Charter to be attained. You wanted democracy in your country. That has been achieved. You wanted a new constitution. Yes, that has been achieved. You wanted the recognition of your unions in the legal form. That has been achieved because soon after freedom, we enacted the Basic Employment Act that gave recognition to unions. Our unions, having not been recognized for the longest time, but as the struggle intensified, yes, they were recognized, but that recognition was tenuous. It needed to be strengthened by what should be inscribed in the Constitution. That was done. You wanted collective bargaining. That too has been achieved, and in recent months you have sought that collective bargaining should be entrenched, it should be consolidated in all sectors, yes, including in the government sector. And I can assure you that collective bargaining is here to stay. What you fought for to get collective bargaining will continue to be respected. And you as workers, whether in the private sector or in government, I want you to be assured, as President of the Republic, that your collective bargaining rights are entrenched and are guaranteed, so they will continue. You wanted the right to organize. That too has been achieved. One of the most important rights you wanted was the right to strike. The right to strike was never always there in our laws because workers could easily be dismissed when they were on strike in spite of having followed the prescripts of the law to have a ballot and all that. But our new constitution, at your insistence, as COSATU, as the working class movement, you insisted that the constitution should have the right to strike. And it is there, it is yours, you have won it. So therefore you have the right to strike, and that strike will never be, that right will never be taken away from you. You wanted to have the right to compensation when you get injured at work. You have won that right, and most recently, even domestic workers won that right, and we are delighted that even domestic workers now have the right to compensation if they get injured in the workplace. The other most important right that you fought for, inscribed in the Freedom Charter, was the right to a minimum wage. Today, after years of struggle, you have won the minimum wage. South Africa now has a national minimum wage, meaning that we have set a level below which a worker may not be paid, and that right belongs to you. You won that right. You wanted to celebrate May Day like you are today. That right now belongs to you. May Day as a holiday belongs to you, and I would say your families as well, because this is the day on which you should come to a rally like this. We finish early and you go home and you relax with your families. You wanted the right, yes, to be co-owners in the companies that you work for. That too has now been enshrined in our laws, that as workers you can be co-owners and we are seeing that beginning to gather momentum. And we thank the Department of Trade, Industry and Competition under Minister Ibrahim Patel, who has led this process to enable hundreds of thousands of workers in our country to be co-owners, to be shareholders in the companies that they work for. And we are going to see this gathering momentum. I want to see those who produce the wealth, those who are the ones who toil in companies, to be co-owners in those companies that they work for. You wanted to ensure that those workers who work on farms should not be evicted at the whim of the farm owners. You wanted that we should have labor tenure rights, and today we do have a law that protects the stay and the tenure of those who work on farms. And we want all farm evictions to come to an end. We want those employers who continue to evict workers to stop, so that the workers may continue enjoying their rights. So, comrades, the African National Congress led our alliance, working together as the ANC, the SACP, COSATU, SANCO, to lead this charge to ensure that South Africa indeed does become free of apartheid. But we also know that we needed to deal with the damage that was done by apartheid. We still need to complete the work that we set ourselves out to do. We still need to return the land to those who work the land. We still need to ensure that the harm that was done against our people when they were forcibly removed from their land and houses should be addressed. And we still need to provide our people with basic requirements for a decent life: houses, electricity, water, food, and health care. We still need to undo the effects of Bantu education, to transform our schools completely, to end illiteracy, and to ensure that our people have the skills to find decent work. We know that we still need to tackle high unemployment in our country. We still need to remove the barriers that kept African, colored, and Indian South Africans from full and equal participation in the economy of our country. Yes, we still need to overcome the many burdens that women in our country face, particularly the African working class women. So, on the 27th of April, we gave effect to the call of the Freedom Charter to say that the people shall govern. Now, over the course of the last 30 years, we have worked to give fulfillment to what was set out in the Freedom Charter. We have done all this largely because the workers of our country united and said that we are going to ensure that we win our freedom. And today, we, as the people of South Africa, stand here to celebrate this May Day with you. But at the same time, we thank you as the workers of this country for having stood up and became part of the motive forces that brought about the change that we started on the 27th of April in 1994. Had the workers not stood up and joined this struggle, I can tell you now that it would have taken us much longer. But because you as workers of South Africa, you said enough is enough, we are going to join this struggle. As we fight against the bosses, we are also going to fight against the apartheid regime. And comrades, you engage in a gallant fight, and we raise our flags to you and applaud you as the workers of this country for the contribution that you made. And it is appropriate that even on Workers' Day, we should continue to thank you, because you brought about these changes that we have. But much more than that, we thank you for making the economy of South Africa to work. The economy of our country revolves around the axis that you are for the economy of our country. You produce the food that we all eat. You drive the wheels of this economy. You produce the clothes that we wear. You are the ones who produce the wealth that this country has. And you need to be recognized for that and to be thanked by all of us, because it is you who do indeed provide, yes, the ability for us to live as we are in our country. So comrades, you are thanked and you are honored as comrades for having stood firm in joining the struggle and in being part of this struggle that should now move forward to address the challenges that we face. Through the struggles that you have waged, yes, we have seen this progress. We now, moving forward, want to have you as part of the struggle to ensure that we tackle unemployment, we tackle inequality, we tackle poverty. And it is through working together with yourselves that we will be able to do precisely that. For you, as the trade union movement, you have come forward always with proposals, with good thoughts, with innovative ideas that have really, in the end, taken our country forward. Yes, you've had visions that have been able to enable us to bring about the changes that we have made in legislation. For instance, you are the ones who have said you need a basic income for our people. When we introduced the social distress grant, the 350, it was you who said, we want that to be extended until we get to a stage of having a basic income grant. And we are on the way, comrades, to move in that direction. Urged and led by yourselves, we will be able to get there. Yes, you also said you want the national health insurance. You advocated for years for the national health insurance, for you wanted all our people to be treated equally when it comes to health care. The National Health Insurance Bill has now been passed, and now it's coming to my desk. And as I was sitting here, the president of COSATU, Comrade Zingiswa Losi, was saying, President, if you don't yet have a pen, COSATU has a pen, and we are going to give it to you today so that you can sign this law into operation. This has been your struggle. This has been the struggle you have engaged in. Comrades, what I also appreciate about the matters that you have taken up, as opposed to what many would say, you have taken up matters that go beyond just advantaging working people. You have always sought to look at matters that will advance the interests of all the people of South Africa. You are often accused as being very parochial, as looking at your own interests as workers. But I can testify that your approach has always been to look beyond even your own membership, but to look at what are the interests of the people of South Africa. That has been clearly exemplified with your approach, yes, to the minimum wage, yes, to national health care, and yes, to matters that affect our people as a whole. You are the ones who have also advocated for our people to get houses. You have also advocated, yes, for the spread of electricity in our country. You have also advocated that the challenges that we have of our logistics, of our electricity, should be addressed in a very, very effective manner, with your members in the unions participating. So it is in this regard that the people of South Africa should thank you indeed for making sure that indeed you are a federation, you are a working class that wants the advancement of all the people in our country. You have also been advocating that every child between the ages of 5 to 15 must be in school. You have also been saying you want early childhood development to be consolidated so that real education should start at a very early age, so that we reach the point where we say our children do strive by 5, and that beyond that we have consolidated how they should be taught. And you have also said we need to expand, yes, the no-fees schools, so that more and more of our children should be in no-fees schools. You have also said we need to expand NSFAS to provide funding for more students in tertiary education. And yes, this is what you have advocated for. And this is what you have been urging our government to fulfill, because you as working people know how education can advance the livelihoods of our people. Now, comrades, as we move forward, we want in the end to ensure that working people are skilled. We have started a program to spread skills in quite a big way, utilizing the funds that we have that are currently lazy capital, to give skills to working people, to ensure that even the young, the middle-aged and the older comrades or people in our country get jobs. Let me be clear. Yes, we have a very high burden of unemployed young people, which we are addressing in a variety of ways. Those who are 18 to 35. But comrades, our government is not leaving those who are 35 and above aside. And we say even those who are 35 and above need to be prioritized to get jobs, because they also need jobs. They also need work. We should not just be focusing on one section, whilst we recognize that the majority of those currently who do not have work are young. You also know that since the democratic government came into office, we had 8 million people in employment. Today, we have 16.7 million, meaning that we have created jobs and we are going to create more jobs. The message that comes from COSATU is very clear, that we should focus on creating jobs. And this is precisely what we are going to do. But we also say, in the course of doing so, we must ensure that the rights of working people are not reduced in any way whatsoever. Your working rights must remain intact even as we build our economy, because this country today is where it is because of the contribution that you as workers have made. As we do all this, comrades, we are also focusing on the empowerment of women. The women of our country carried the heaviest burden of all. Their burden was being oppressed because they were black. They were also oppressed because they were part of the working class, and they were also oppressed because they were women. And we say it is therefore important to focus on empowering women in our country as well. We will therefore lead the charge together with yourselves to empower our women, not only in our factories, not only in our mines, but all over. We want women to occupy their rightful place in places of leadership, in places in parliament. As the African National Congress, you know very well that even as we go to the elections now, 50% of those our people are going to elect are women. Women will no longer be left to be second-class citizens in our country. They must be first-class citizens, because that is the rightful place that women in our country must occupy. Our sisters, our aunts, our mothers, our grandmothers deserve to be well placed in the life of this country. That also means that we as working people must also rise and address the issue of gender-based violence. Comrades, as workers, we must rise and lead the charge against gender-based violence. We must ensure that the women of our country are respected, are recognized, and they are not harmed in any way whatsoever. And I say that we all as working men must give the due respect to the women of our country. We are going to urge all men from the leadership positions to all other lower positions to sign the pledge, a pledge that we want to popularize much more in the 7th administration, a pledge that will be signed by men, that we will respect women. As a man, I will never raise my hand against a woman. We must say, as a man, I will never make a woman uncomfortable about abusing her in one way or another. And we say the abuse of women in South Africa must come to an end. We, as workers, must lead that charge. The women of our country are the mothers of our nation who bring life into this world, and therefore they need to be given the due respect. Comrades, we also say you as workers need to join this fight, to fight for those who are oppressed around the world. And today, as South Africa, we have stood up for the rights of those in other parts of the world are currently being subjected to torture, to violence, to genocide. And that is why, as a country, and yes, as an alliance, we have stood firm in our support for the people of Palestine. And that is why we say we want Palestine to be free. We want the people of Palestine to do what Madiba said should be done, that they too must enjoy the freedom that we are enjoying. It was Madiba who said, our freedom will never be complete until the freedom of the Palestinians is achieved. We also want the people of Western Sahara to win their own self-determination. We want to continue supporting all those around the world who continue to have their human rights abused. Having won the right to human rights ourselves, it is important that we should support the human rights of those who are subjected to oppression around the world. Comrades, on the 29th of May, we're going to elections. Those are going to be the most important elections. But there are those who go around, various political parties, who go around who are our opponents. They run around the country like little brackies, running around and saying all manner of things, saying "Nyue, nyue, nyue, nyue," saying that the ANC is going to be below 50%. I want to give them a very clear message. The workers of this country, the people of this country are not going to allow the ANC to go below 50%. They are working for an outright majority of the African National Congress. And here in the Western Cape, we are going to show those who believe that the Western Cape belongs to them, that the African National Congress is coming after you. The African National Congress is going to show you, because that is the one organization that has proven over the past 30 years that it cares for the people of this country, having led our people as a whole to bring this country where it is. President Thabo Mbeki yesterday, that those, as he was reflecting on the 30 years of democracy, and he made quite an important point, He said, those who say nothing has been achieved in the past 30 years are saying something that is false, that is not true. In other words, they are living in dreamland, because a lot has been achieved in the past 30 years. But he also urged everyone that we should work together to make sure, comrades, that we work for a victory of the African National Congress. So I urge us all, as workers here, firstly in the Western Cape and in broader South Africa, as workers, there's only one political organization that has advanced the interests of workers. All the others that are out in the field campaigning do not have the good intentions to advance the rights of workers like the African National Congress has done in government. So remember that as workers as we go to the polls. And therefore I want to rally all workers to be active volunteers of the African National Congress, to go out and make sure that we achieve this decisive victory that awaits us. Because on the 29th of May, the ANC, and for those who think that the ANC will not emerge victorious, the ANC will indeed emerge victorious. They don't know us abasazi. Basizwa nje emaphepheni, basizwa nje ku-TV, abasazi. That's why sithi ka Sesotho re batla go kgalemela lenyatso. A re tsweng ka bongata ba rona re lo kgalemela lenyatso. Basibukela phansi abaninzi, sithi masiphumeni ngomninzi siyobabonisa ukuthi u-African National Congress ngubani na, ukuthi kulelizwe inkunzi iyodwa nje, leyo nkunzi i-African National Congress. Bayeke ukudelela i-ANC, bazoyibona kakuhle ngomhla ka-29. Sithi kubo kom onsalele Mooivees, sanibonisa kakuhle. Niyabasaba na? Niyabasaba na? Amandla. Forward to victory, forward. Forward to victory, forward. Ngena ANC, ngena. Pata ANC, pata. Wina ANC, wina. Mandla. Forward with the alliance, forward. Mandla ngiyabonga.